podcast. Welcome to the Omega Expert Chat with Gabriel Perez, Senior Manager of Finance at Candor Realty. Gabriel is a real estate investor and violinist. Welcome to the podcast, Gabriel.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. Over the past few years, Gabriel, you have shared your passion for real estate as well as music. But for those that are listening, what inspired you to get involved in real estate?
Time freedom, becoming financially free so I can deploy my time into things that I'm passionate about without having to worry about how am I going to pay the bills, or I need this job because I need to pay for all for my rent or mortgage or my car or to travel and stuff like that. So basically, trying to make working optional, and it's not that I'm gonna retire or whatever whenever I reach that. It's that I will be able to, like I said at the beginning, deploy my time into things that I'm passionate about without having to, like, regardless if that makes me money or not.
That's fantastic. Having that balance between what profits you, but also learning how to balance your passions. And I know for some of our listeners who are leaders, organizational leaders specifically, they discuss a lot about developing strategies for work-life balance. So as you are reaching out to entrepreneurs, other individuals within your own company, how have you been able to sort of balance between, you know, profiting and focusing on, selling real estate and properties, but also focusing on your passion for music? Well, how have you been able to develop that particular balance over the past few years?
I always try to prioritize those passions and things that I enjoy doing, just because, for me, if I wouldn't do those things, then I wouldn't be I wouldn't be able to keep up with life in general. Just like doing those things consistently is what makes me it's what makes me enjoy life and want to continue like living and enjoying it. So definitely, like for example, when I moved to Boston, like I quickly was searching to join an orchestra, for example, which I'm part of one now. And because I knew that I had to do that commitment, uh like to put that on my calendar or on my life, because if not, I will start to like lay back and not like do it. So now I with the orchestra I rehearse once a week, so at least once a week I'm playing violin, and those rehearsals is like therapy for me, because it's like a time that I'm in there, nothing else matters. Like if I get a call, if I get an email or whatever, like nothing matters because I'm playing the violin, so I can't be like distracted with my phone or and all of that. So it's just like to answer your question, then basically I try to find time commitments or things that I need to that require me to be at a certain place at a certain time to do a certain thing, um and that way, like, I make sure that I do those things that I enjoy consistently, and that's how basically I balance uh that work life thing. And also, like, I communicate to my boss, I have this rehearsal, like this day I need to leave either early, or depending on if I have a concert and I need to leave early, like, and thankfully, like, everyone has been super understanding and they support me in all these things that I do outside of work. So I've been blessed to be part of a great team.
Absolutely. And I've known you for many, many years now, and I've just been so inspired by your ability to balance between your passions for playing the violin, going to concerts, especially at Symphony Hall recently. But I
Yeah.
also am aware that you purchased your first home before the age of 26. So you have been such a trailblazer. What was that process like, purchasing your first home And what particular advice would you give to individuals that are in that process, looking for a home, looking for business properties in the next few months, in the next year or so? Where would they start? Or
So I knew like 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years, that I wanted to become a real estate investor because I discovered that world and I discovered a strategy, and I was like, okay, this is definitely what I see myself doing in the future. And that will make me reach my goal of becoming financially independent or financially free. Um, Obviously, not the first one won't get me there, but the first one is like the first step towards that goal that I want for myself. Um, for me, as soon as I established that I wanted to buy my first investment property, then it was like, okay, I need to save, obviously, because you need money for that, and I basically established a plan, and I had like conversations with myself about like what what level of sacrifice am I willing to make in order to get there? Do I want to save $200 a month? Do I want to save a little bit more, like maybe 400 or 500? Like, because depending on that level of sacrifice, then that will determine my lifestyle, because that will determine how much money will I have left after I pay rent and groceries and all of that. Um, but that will determine as well how fast or slow am I going to get there. And there's no rush, or there's no competition. Like, everyone has their own journey, and they take it at their own pace. But like, for me, I wanted to reach it in a faster way than usual, I guess. And I was willing to make that sacrifice. So that was like the first thing that I thought to myself. And then I started saving for like basically like 2 years or so. Um, and then when I felt ready financially to be able to start looking at properties, or like for real, to see them as like, okay, like I'm ready to buy, then I started the process. I talked with an agent. They connected me to like a loan officer to be pre-approved, and that was like the thing that set my range of price of the property that I was looking for. Like, before, I remember before the pre-approval process, I was like, oh, I can afford this amount of this price of a property. And then when the pre-approval came, it was like, okay, I was wrong. I was pre-approved for like lower than the amount that I was looking for properties. Um, and yeah, after that, basically started looking at properties, started running numbers to see if it makes sense to buy, because this is an investment for myself. This is not like my forever home that I want to live in and raise my family and all of that. This is like, I'm gonna live here for like 1 or 2 years, and then I'll buy another one and do the same thing and continue on. So it's not that I'm attached to this potential property that I'm looking for. And then basically through the network of like my job, we found this property, and I bought it, and that.
No, that's an incredible story. And I know for many individuals that are 25 years, they only can aspire, right, to have a property by your age. And I think you've done it in such an exceptional way. And one thing that you touched upon is that commitment. And I think in our day and age, many people, Gen Zers, people amongst our age bracket, we have a difficult time committing to things, right? We're always looking for the next best thing. We're always trying to one up, where we were previous years. Can you share a strategy or maybe some advice that you've been given to stay committed? You shared that you were saving for over 2 years, but how did you sort of keep yourself committed, 2 years in the running? And what was that process like in order to make sure that you were, saving and that you were consistent and, you know, not doing certain things because there obviously was a sacrifice for you, right, to save. Um, what did you learn about that process that really has helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So for me, like rule number one is like never spend more than you make. So if you make 3,000 or 2,500 a month, like do not spend over that amount because then you won't be able to save. Um, that's like rule number one, and that should always be present. Other than that, pay yourself first, which like if you are the person that reads like a lot of personal finance articles and information like that, then pay yourself first is something that always shows up. And but it's true. Like whenever I get paid, let's say I get paid, I have like I want to let's say I want to save $500 a month, and so before like as soon as I get that paycheck, um, obviously let's say you worked for a month, so you earn a month's worth of your salary or however you get paid. Then the second month, let's say that's when you're gonna start to save. So in that first paycheck, like as soon as I get it, like the first thing that I do is like get those 500 that I determined that I was gonna save into another account, a savings account, or however you structure your personal finance. But definitely like take that out first, and then with whatever's left, then that's how I survive the rest of the month for my rent, for my groceries, like entertainment, going out, whatever. Because if not, like what I think what most people do is like they live through the month, and then at the end it's like, okay, let's see what I have left. And maybe you had an emergency, or maybe you went out more than what you wanted to, and you spend more, and then at the end, instead of 500, you maybe have like 200 or whatever. And then, well, that makes you not save at the rate that you wanted to, and that will delay your goal of saving whatever amount you want. So definitely paying yourself first makes sure that you stay consistent on that path. And definitely like recording it. Like I have my Excel spreadsheets of my personal finances. It's like, okay, this month I say 500, maybe the next month I say 400 or whatever. Maybe a month I almost didn't have expenses, or didn't go out, or didn't eat out much, and maybe I had 200 extra that I can save, so I put it, but I record it. It's like, okay, and then bit by bit until you want to deploy that cash to whatever you want. And for me, it was the property. So so yeah. So definitely like those two things, like never spend more than what you make, or basically live below your means, as a lot of people say, and pay yourself first. I would say those two advice are like crucial.
No, that's fantastic advice. And you touched upon having an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of those expenses, the amount of money that you were receiving as in your personal revenue or your personal income. But for those that might not have a financial understanding, or they might not have a finance background, if you will, where should these individuals start to kind of get into the habit of, tracking their expenses? Do you have any particular applications or any specific tools that has really helped and assisted you throughout getting your home?
Yep. So one, what there's an app. I think there's both in like Android and iPhone. It's called, like, if you search on the App Store, spending tracker. The icon of the app is like a brown wallet, and I love that application because it's the downside is that it's completely manual, because now you have Mint and these like websites that you connect your cards and bank accounts, and like it does it for you. But I feel like there's a lot of room for error in terms of like categorizing stuff automatically. So that's why I don't use those things. But with this app, that, like I said, the downside is that it's completely manual, but that's the upside as well, because you can you can create as many categories as you want. Uh, you can organize it however you want. You can do everything, like I love it. But you got to stay on top of it. Like, let's say you went to the groceries and you bought something. Like, once you get in your car, like, okay, let's record whatever I spent at the supermarket. And if you go out to eat or something, like, as soon as you pay for it, like, record it. And then, like, I literally I've literally been able to track to the penny, like, what I spend on a monthly basis. And then at the end of that month, it's like, okay, let me look back and see what I spent. Like, oh my God, this month I spent $400 eating out. Maybe I should lower that number for next month. So then for the following month, you are more aware of like, if someone invites you or something, then either try to do something else, or eat, or instead of going for dinner, like, let's do something during the day, and maybe you eat before leaving and meeting with your friend, and that way you save that. And this is very personal. Like, whatever works for you is what you should do, and whatever you are willing to sacrifice or tolerate, or whatever the lifestyle that you want for yourself is what you should do. For me, I was willing to make that sacrifice, and work my way around it, and that worked for me. But that, maybe the same level of sacrifice that I did doesn't work for you or for the other person or whatever, and that's totally fine, because this is totally on a personal level. So I think that, and that's where something that I like to emphasize a lot is self-awareness. That's where that comes in. You need to be able to, like, know yourself and know what you want, which is super hard. But definitely worth having those conversations with yourself in order to get to know yourself more, because that is what will give you direction. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going. For me, the most important thing is the direction that you're going, because if you're going in the right direction where you want, then it doesn't matter if you reach it, like, in a month or in a year or in 2 years, 10 years, because as long as you are working and making progress towards where you want to be, then I feel like you will be fulfilled. So,
Yeah, and I loved how you touched upon not comparing yourself to anyone else and making sure that you have a vision, you have a direction for just you, right? You can care less about what anyone else is doing. It's about what's best for you and your economical needs, what your financial understanding is, and kind of using your own personal resources to reach your specific goals. So I think touching upon that and knowing that firsthand is going to help many people down the line, especially those that are listening to our conversation now, understand that there is no competition when it comes to your personal finances. It's you against you. And, I just want to turn the page a little bit and to highlight, as a senior manager of finance at Candor Realty, you look at different properties on a day-to-day basis, and there's numerous properties that you have probably looked at within the past couple of years within this role. What has been one specific, pieces of advice or information that you've learned for those that are looking to purchase either a property for their business, even if they're looking to purchase a property as a home? What would be one piece of information that someone should be aware about now if they're looking to do that within the next, year, within the next 5 years?
so I think if you're buying it as an investment property, then the most important thing I would say is, like, know to run your numbers, like, get to know that, get in the habit of practicing it, because if it's an investment, like, you want it to make you a return. You don't want to buy it and be losing money. You want to make money. That's why it's an investment. Uh, so definitely, getting to know how to run numbers is, like, the most crucial thing, because that will determine if it's worth buying the property. Because if not, then you don't buy it, and analyze the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So I would say that's the most important, for if you're looking at from, like, a business or investment perspective. if it's like your forever home, or like where you want to live for many, many years, then I think that is like, if you can afford the mortgage and you are comfortable with it and you can live like that, then like that fits your lifestyle, then perfect. Because that, from that perspective, it doesn't matter if it's an investment or not. It what matters is that it makes you happy and you're like in a neighborhood that you like, and around friends, or how convenient everything is placed, like if you have supermarkets or a mall nearby or a school and stuff like that. So I think from that perspective, that is what I feel like would matter the most if I was in that position.
Yeah, location is everything when purchasing a property because you want to make sure you have the amenities, you have that quick access to supermarkets, your dentist, all of these facilities that we need. And even for businesses, if you can find a location that's within a certain perimeter of other businesses, that's going to be great for you to expand your network. It's going to be great for your business because you can be able to socialize. If you guys do a happy hour afterwards, you're instantly going to get connected with the other franchises organizations within your own perimeter. And it's at the end of the day, it's important for you to understand what do you want most out of this property, right? And if you don't kind of have a specific agenda, as you shared prior, then you really are going to be crunching numbers, and you may not be as satisfied if you had done the work prior.
That is correct.
Absolutely. So as you continue along this path at Candor Realty, what is next for Gabriel? What's on your agenda next? Are you looking to improve and develop a portfolio? What's on your agenda now?
Yeah, so for me, just like within the role at my job, then just continue to grow, take more responsibility, and like grow within the role and within the company, because we have been growing like very, very fast, which sometimes is overwhelming, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, like I'm learning about all these stuff, all these things, and and growing at the same time with the company and all of that. So that's been very rewarding. Um, and from a personal level, like, or from the real estate investment perspective, then I'm saving and preparing myself right now in so I can buy my next property next year in 2023. So uh just trying to save and do what I need to do from that perspective, and so I can put myself in a position for success to be able to buy the property next year. So yeah, and continue with the violin, with the orchestra, doing those concerts and rehearsing, uh, and yeah, just like trying to enjoy life and do things the right way, and so I can put myself in a position to reach that ultimate goal, which is financial freedom.
That financial freedom to do what they choose to do when they choose to do it. What would be some lasting remarks, any particular advice you want to give to our listeners?
I would say I would uh, emphasize again on the self-awareness aspect. Like I think there's nothing more important and more satisfying and rewarding than getting to know yourself, because that on from every aspect, from like a financial from aspect, from I don't know, like family relationships, everything, because that is what like by knowing yourself you can know what you want for yourself. And it's like, oh, like let's say, you know uh I don't know, like, oh, let's say, oh, you want to go out, but you don't, but that means like maybe in the past you would drink, and then at the next day you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad or whatever. Then maybe with by getting to know yourself, it's like, okay, this is something I will not tolerate or do not want for my life anymore. So that will lead you to to make a decision of like, okay, let's either like lower my drinking intake or maybe even stop drinking, uh, and that will make you make a decision that is aligned with what you want for your life, because you have that self-awareness, have you have and you have taken that time to know yourself more, and that will result in a better life experience in general. And that's just one example, that can be applied to real estate investing, that could be applied to your job. Maybe you want to quit your job because you don't like it or whatever, then maybe that's something that you okay, like, I want to leave this job, so what can I do? Let's start applying to other job positions that are aligned to what I'm interested in. Um, and as you take action towards that, then that will lead you into getting where you want to go. So I think definitely self-awareness is just like crucial for everything in life, for everything. So I would say take the time to be with yourself, to get to know you, and have those conversations like, Gabriel, like, what do I want in life? Like, what makes me happy? What does Gabriel's life look like in 3, 5, 10 years? And then reverse engineer that, and find goals and things that you want to pursue that will take you where you want to be.
Well said. Hey, asking yourself those tough questions earlier on will only make the journey much easier, for
Oh yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's hard to sit down with yourself and ask yourself those questions. Like, it's definitely hard. It takes time. It takes a lot of energy, but it's totally worth it. Like 100% worth it.
Well, thank you so much, Gabriel, for being on the Omega Expert Chat.
Thank you so much, Keenan, for having me. I appreciate you.